What's up, TIW Mafia? JP here. Got Big Joe with us, and we got somebody who's from both of our hometowns that does his own podcast. I don't want to say little podcast because it's not. We're all the same, man. Off the top ropes, we got with us Blackheart. What is going on, Mr. Blackheart?
Big Joe, what's going on,
What's happening, boss?
I'm just thank God that I'm here today. I mean, I've been wanting to come on. I want you guys to still come on my podcast too. It's always that open invitation that I have with every podcast that I go on. I get the open invitation to them and be like, yo, whenever y'all want to come on, hit me, let me know. But thank God that we here, man. Just us Southie boys just talking some professional wrestling, and I'm actually kind of psyched for this.
Hey, Laurie, we got some people commenting on like our Facebook and our Twitter. This is our first time live on Twitter we never did the Periscope thing. So what's up, Twitter, if anyone's paying attention there?
Hey,
but Laurie,
what do you do, everyone?
I just wanted to say prayers. I know you were asking for some prayers for a personal issue that you or a family member was having, and prayers to you guys. You guys are always good to us. So
absolutely.
But so Blackheart, I mean, I met you at UFO Wrestling.
Yes.
And you were there with your boys, and you guys were all sitting there in a row. You all had your OTTR shirts on.
Now. Man, you know that.
Another podcast in the building. I like it.
You got to represent.
Got to. You have to.
Jimmy, I saw some of the pictures from your event. Looks like it was a great show Saturday night. So good job with that, man. And what's happening, Jimmy? Yeah, that's So I instantly, like, I'm not an outgoing person, but when I see something like that, and I know like collaborating with podcasts is good for each other, so I always try to get it up in myself to go over. And I went over, introduced myself to you guys. And just the vibe that the three of you guys that were there had was insane. Like, just three good dudes having a blast, cheering for everybody.
No, JP, remember when we started and it was cutthroat and everyone hated everybody and no one would hand out and help anybody else? But like the way it is now, it's why I don't want to grow without you. Let's grow together.
Right, and that's the thing and it was like that. And you didn't talk to. We were different though. We always had a couple of podcasts that we sort of talked to, but like it was cut through. It was very. You thought that if you had a listener, no one else could have that same listener, and the fact is, people listen to hundreds of podcasts every week now.
Yeah, I was gonna say because sometimes it's hard. Like going there to UFO, like this wasn't my first UFO event that I had been to. You know what I'm saying? I've been to one where Ernst the Cat Miller was one of the headliners. Yeah, and I think he was facing and they had Matchpack Mike was up there. Masshole Mike, excuse me.
Masshole Mike McCarthy, yes.
That was my very first show that I went. I was like, why did I not find this shit sooner? Holy shit. So I started really trying to dig in more into the independents because I told everyone in the group, I might pay attention to the independents because they're going to be the next group of people that's going to get that nod from a bigger company to come work for them. And you're going to see them and you're going to be like, oh my God, I know this guy or I know this girl. And I'm trying to get them like, yo, forget about the main promotion right now. Fuck all that. Focus on these guys right here. Focus on these girls right here that's busting their ass, coming here just trying to wait. And someone doesn't show up, then they're trying to get a spot. Support them because they're trying the same thing that we're trying. You know what I'm saying? Yep. It was Dukes and Mav, the two guys that I was with, my boys, that I went to high school with. And I told them, like, yo, we're going to this event. They was like, okay, cool. It'll be our first independent event that they ever went to. So for me, I'm like, they'll probably out carries today. All right, cool. And they had a ball. They had a blast. I'm actually kind of surprised that one of them was about to win that raffle one of them did win that raffle. He won a little gift box.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, he won a little gift box.
Okay.
A little gift box that had like a tea, and he had like a doll, some other stuff, and he had like a card. And I'm like, You lucky bastard. Because I never won no shit like that. But we had a blast that night though. And then we met you guys, and you reached out your hand to us. Our main goal was to try to put in the footwork and go to these independent promotions to let them know that we here to support, and we just trying to extend our hand and try to make our content better. And maybe somewhere down the line we can work together. And we see you, and then I noticed you. You was the first person I noticed, and then I point at them. I'm like, yo, that's one of the guys right there too. I'm like, he has a similar shirt, same way how the person next to me, the little girl, she had the similar shirt on too. So I'm like, there's people that rock with a podcast in here. Just weed them out, find out who they are. And so you end up walking over there, and I was just like, that's us. And then of course, for us being three black men in molding, nonetheless, we stick up like a fucking sore thumb. So I knew we was gonna have eyes looking at us because these ain't our regulars. This is there's somebody new. Who are they? And we was braced up for that. I was braced up for that. I'm like,
right,
man. Just be yourself. We here to rock. Let's go. That's how we met.
So I was at the Ernest Miller show too, and I think, like you talk about, these are the guys at tomorrow. I think at that show, I don't think he was on the show, but I think he was there handing out flyers for a show he was running. Was some guy that took a Scorpion Deathlock from some guy on TV last night. I'm pretty sure Anthony Green was on that was at that show handing out flyers for his own show he was running.
I think so. But also another person that was on AEW Dynamite that was actually at the show that we was at was on TV last night too. Then it was Joel. Him. And I was like, wait, that's it? I'm like, yo, that's homie. Like, that's homie that came all the way from Brockton, did a show out there that same night, had the first match, and drove all the way from Brockton to Malden just to be there for that event. I'm like, he got heart and he got balls to steal. And I'm like, that's a guy that you need to watch out for. That's a guy that's hungry, like real hungry, that's trying to get in there. Now I guess he's in there, but we haven't got an official word that he's been officially signed. But if he does, he's going to start.
A lot of those guys aren't under contract yet. They're, like Anthony Green. Anthony Green's not under contract yet. I don't think Jorah is.
No, I don't think so.
But they're trying them out. You know what I mean? And these guys, they prove that they're going to prove their way. And they will, because they all got great training. They all got, some of the best training in America for pro wrestling is right here in Massachusetts. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and when you look at it, like, so even the greats that are out there today, or the greats from yesterday, were the hungry kid at one point.
Yeah.
And you get these hungry kids. A lot of them that are starting to break through have, I'm not going to say come through our doorstep. I don't want to be like we didn't have anything to do with it, but we spoke with them. We've got some top WWE guys now that we spoke with. And
Laurie Prescott just said, you three guys were the best. She was sitting right next to you guys.
Thank you.
And
Thank you, Laurie. Oh, Matt.
So
Matt.
Laurie's
I think
husband was
that she was too, because we looked over and then she's cursing out some wrestler coming out, and I'm just like, yo, she got heart, bro. Like, yo, get the camera on her, because we seen it taping all the matches, so we try to do like a highlight, the highlight footage log, which is I saw a very promotion that we went to, and have like a vlog to help them get out there as well, and then has eyeballs come on to us. So. It's just a reach out. Reach out to everyone to try to work with anyone that you can, because that's just how hungry and how hard working and driven that you are. So,
now, what other shows have you?
The same damn thing. So I'm like, this is great.
Have you guys found other promotions that you like other than UFO? I mean, UFO's like one of my homes. It's one of my favorites. It's
we've been to a top. We've been to the top rope promotions first.
Yeah, they do a great show.
The one that I remember going to, but I just forgot the name of it. But it was like so long ago, and I barely even remember it. But those were the only kind of two that we all been through, because other than the WWE stuff, which we all grew up going to those events. Yes. But no one really hardly knows the independence, especially when you're growing up like that as a kid, So
top rope,
when I was like river building. I was like, okay, there's other places that then they started to reach out to TNA, then they bring it on, and then you go to that. I'm like, okay, so there's a root here. This is where we're gonna find someone in the midst of this. Boom, 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 boom. These guys are gonna be right up there, and I'm like, pay attention to them.
I mean, I went to a show. I know Saturday night last week, and the main event was Brian Malonis versus Eddie Edwards down in Rockland. So, like, those guys are out there, and you can absolutely, like, we're talking to Eddie now. Brian's been on and got an open invitation. Jora was on that show too. Like, it was just, you never know what you're gonna see at an independent show, especially these guys at AEW that aren't signed, but they're also allowed to do independents to make their money.
Yep.
They just gonna show up at the door and be like, "Hey, can I jump in?" Sure.
That's you never know when you're gonna get hit with a chair.
Yeah.
Well, you never know when that phone call comes in. Like, hey, man, like, can you make it down here for a couple of tapings? Sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you drop everything when you get that call.
Right. We get that call, I'm like, I don't give a shit about nothing else. I'm going. It's just
come up and work a dark match. Absolutely. Yeah.
Any way that I can get my other foot into the damn door, I'm going to do it.
Hell yeah.
Bobby D, all three of us will be at UFO October 30th in Southie at Farragut Park with Bushwhacker Luke. Absolutely. 1 p.m. bell time.
Oh, absolutely.
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 And it's the first time me going to an event that's outdoors. And on top of that, it's a place where I'm like, damn, it's right down the street from Sully's too.
Yeah,
and for those guys that do not know, Sully's is still open.
It's a double.
Yes,
it's a win-win.
Yes.
Sully's will absolutely still be open. They're open until like Thanksgiving.
I think it's open until October.
First snow or something like that.
Yeah, they open pretty far into then they open pretty early in the season now. They're only when me and Joe were growing up, Sully's was open like
so around like this time, about to come into like October, that's when they start closing and stuff.
They closed when school went in session. I think beginning of September they closed, and then they opened up again. I think right around St. Patty's Day.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's it.
Wow. Yep. And one more thing, who can ever forget Doughboys too?
Doughboys is good.
And Doughboys is still standing though, but I haven't been in there in years though. So
that's been there for longer than I can remember.
I'm a Dunks guy. I don't do donuts too often, but I'm a Dunkin' Donuts guy. I gotta get my coffee.
I've always been going to Doughboys since I was a kid, like always. Especially when it was really like everyone knew everyone was all connected to one another. And then on top of that, Libby Bell's Pizza and Subs, like right across the street. God. That was right across the street from my house. Like literally right across the street. I could look out my window and Libby Bell's is right there.
So
and I was
good.
like, wow, that was so good. And I miss them. I miss Michelle. I miss I miss the guys and all that. I mean, you know what I mean? Like Michelle knew my mother, and that, you know what I'm saying? And that's what was cool. You know what I mean?
You still got Rondo's there though.
Everything like that.
Yeah, I don't think Rondo's is going anywhere.
Rondo's better not go the fuck anyway. They better try to make that into like a landmark like place, because that's so much history in that building. You know what I mean? Like there's no way that they can say we'll give you this much just to own this building. I'm like, listen, man, this guy that gotta be there forever.
Yeah, money talks though.
For those that don't know, this is with 3 generations basically from the same neighborhood. And Joe being the grandfather, I'd be the father. And Blackheart coming up, I won't say the son, but the new generation.
Son. I'll say after adopted son, I guess. I guess we just naturally found each other. But I want to give a shout out to Pat Dillon though, who runs UFO Wrestling, because if it wasn't for him, I would have been at that event in the first place. And that's why I would have never met you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, we all grew up with Pat. That's the funny part. Like, I've known Pat.
And then when me and him, and then the funny thing was when me and Pat started talking, right? Pat was like, "Yo, I came from Fifth Street." I was like, "Really?" I was right across the street from you in D Street, right over here in the Peace. And he's like, "Wow." But I think that our timeline was basically when I think he had to been like at least in 24, 25 when I started coming up. So we was definitely far back by that time period. But I was like, but needless to say, once you're a Southie kid, you're a Southie kid. There's nothing else to it.
Right.
I'd rather be a D Street dirtball than anything else.
I'm a point. I'm on the right side of L Street, but I'm not a point. You know what I mean? I'm not that far up the point. I was K and 6, so
okay.
I couldn't afford to cross L Street either.
Linsky Barry Court. That's where I was.
That-
Yeah. Were you there when the little pond was there? No, that was you. The little pool. You were gone.
I don't think so.
There used to be a little pool there that we called the polio pit. That's where I was.
I was always within West Broadway, from B Street to D Street, and maybe somewhere towards going up to Broadway's best.
Yeah,
that was over there that you would catch me
right by the Condon basketball court.
Unless if I would have went the back way to walk to Old Colony, that I would walk the back way to go. To go over there to see some people and like whatever. And then of course Old Harbor is literally right across the way from there. So
right.
So
how long you been a wrestling fan? I know you got the show and all that, but like what?
All my life,
this level.
All my life, and I gotta say that it's because of my mother, because she was a wrestling fan. So, and she was always a Hulk Hogan fan. At all people, yes, she was a Hulk Hogan fan. And anytime when WWF back in the day came to the Garden, she would go. And I remember one particular show that she took me to that I'll never forget. Sitting in the balcony seats, I think it was right behind. I think we was right on top of the entryway. So if I'm looking down, dark's around there, the ring's right there, nothing but the lights, right? And I remember Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan for the title in the body bag match. And somehow, I don't know how the finish was, but all I know was Hulk Hogan ended up still retaining the title. Cool. Undertaker tombstones him, puts him in the body bag, carries him, and walks to the back. And that was it. And ever since that moment, not only one, I became a wrestling fan, like as God knows what, a 1-year-old, but Undertaker was the main person that I said, that's my guy. And ever since, that's always been my favorite wrestler, no matter who the fuck want to argue with me about it. I can turn my camera around right now, and I bet you I have an Undertaker poster on my wall.
That's awesome.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I mean, that's just the love that I got. And the fun fact about him is his birthday is the day before. My birthday is the day after his.
Is that right?
Yes, he's on March 24th and I'm March 25th. So we're both Aries. So I'm like, spiritually brothers, man. I'm spiritually your son.
The Undertaker at the Garden, the story I have about him at the Garden.
So when did you go from watching the Undertaker tombstone Hulk Hogan to grabbing a microphone and doing a podcast? Because you guys, like, we do this, and like I have nice equipment. I don't do a whole lot of editing. You guys do. You do like really good editing on your stuff, and it's a little flashier than what we're doing. So you must have done some film stuff.
I mean, I've always been a nerd. I'm sorry, folks. Yes, I am a Black Hood nerd. Anyway, but when I went to school, I always picked up tech work, like working with computers and filming and editing and stuff like that. So I had a keen skill, and didn't think about what I went to college. I went to Massachusetts College of Art and Design right there in Roxbury. So I was there for 6 years getting my degree over there. So I never left the city to go anywhere else. I learned a lot of things in there, but I graduated with a TD Fine Arts in painting. So I know how to paint. I know how to do all these other stuff. But I try to be like an overall artist, learn as much as I can, and use my skills to try to get me to other places, and maybe more doors will open up for me to lead to more opportunity and a better situation in life. You gotta use your skill to try to get you somewhere. So the podcast, however, I got so mad at the main event of Elimination Chamber 2020. And it was the female Hell in the Cell #1 contenders match. And just the way, as a matter of fact, screw that. The whole damn pay-per-view was trash. Except for 2 matches that saved it. But the whole card was trash, especially the main event, because I was a huge fan of Asuka and Shayna Baszler. And the way that they booked Shayna Baszler to wipe out everyone, and then when it came to Asuka being dead last, it was nothing. It fell flat on his ass. And then you embarrass one person, but another person that just got called up to the main roster, and this is what the fuck did he do? And I watched Shayna Baszler since she's been in NXT, and I became a fan ever fucking since. So to see that there, I was like, what the fuck am I watching? That's why I went off. But I ended up finding this this app called Anchor that allowed me to do my podcast full on my phone and stuff like that. So I tried that out for the first time, and I caught that bug, and it kind of just slowly grew. I had a couple of people that I trusted that started out with me first. Shout out to Necro, shout out to Youngblood. As much as I don't talk to either one of them right now for other reasons, but I still gotta get my love for them, because if it wasn't for those guys jumping on board with me in the first place, season 1, and let me remind y'all, we're in season 4 right now. This podcast will never even survive that without those 2 boys. So I gotta give my praises to them. As much as we ain't talking right now, just know love is still there. Anyway,
are those the 2 dudes from? Sorry, Joe. Go ahead.
What season would we be in?
You will be in season 4. The current
those
one.
The 2. I went back and I did watch some of your older stuff. Were they the 2 dudes from New York?
It wasn't them.
Now, Joe.
Yeah.
I cut you off on purpose to kind of be funny. One, you look like a robot with the glare in your eyes.
I can't. I don't know how to get rid of it. I look weird without.
No, you look. Yeah, no, he looks weird without his glasses on.
I know. I just don't know how to do it.
I think it's because of the brightness.
Yeah, I'm right under the light.
Yeah. Tell your Undertaker story.
And just the podcast just grew and grew, and I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to put my heart into it, because it's something that I love. Of course, I love professional wrestling, but now this became a thing that could get me to do something extra on the side, and so that I can really be on my own, and you might never know what it could lead me up to. And I come from a hardworking family, so we don't want how to just say, no, we can't do something. So is that you can or you can't. And I always say I can do it. And I just took that leap of faith with it. Here we are.
Now, 4 seasons, do you do a season a year?
I say do a season. I like to try to coordinate this like a TV type of, programming. You know what I mean? So each episode, each season in a normal TV show would be like 22, 23 episodes, something like that. So I try to make it within that combine update to make it feel like each and every week on the same time slides where they always been, but when they go on a season break, some other stuff, and they be like, oh damn, when they're gonna come back? When the next season gonna start? Like, I miss these guys. Like, what's going on with them? I wanted to build it like that. I wanted to build my podcast like you watching the actual TV show, and then you can actually fucking sit back and fucking enjoy. Like, I fuck with these guys because they just like me. If I'm sitting here talking to my people over here that happen to be wrestling fans, and we said the same thing.
Now, Joe does have a funny story about the Undertaker.
I'm looking forward to this, and shout out to bonfire.com.
Right. So we're leaving one of the events, and we're walking down the back stairs like the herd, all of us walking down. Next thing, behind us, you hear commotion, and there's nobody with them, just him by himself. The Undertaker walking through the crowd to get out to go to the parking lot. And all you hear is these kids yelling, "I touched his arm, I touched his back." So me being a jerk, I yelled, "I grabbed his ass." He stops dead in front of me, looks back at me, shakes his head, and keeps going. That's my Undertaker story.
That's awesome.
I didn't dare grab his ass.
You might have got tombstone.
I mean, this is in his prime too. This is going back.
It was early years.
No. You got your merch on. You got your mug. Where can people pick that stuff up?
www.bonfire.com/store/off the top ropes podcast. That's where you can find the shirts, the cup, every except for the slides. The slides, you gotta go to www.deco.com/off the top ropes, so you can find the 3 designs there that you have. Yeah, we have
full name in, or just the full name off the top ropes, or just the OTTR?
No, off the top ropes podcast.
Okay,
so all spaced out. And yes, we do have merchandise too, and yes, we do have slides.
That's awesome, Joe. We got to get the slides done.
Yeah, we got to get on top of that.
Yeah, the size. I got my hoodie in the closet. But and then of course, Big Joe has seen it. Excuse me. that he's seen the Mob Tree one, and he's like, yo, I should have thought about that. I'm like, no, I thought that about it from you.
Now, you guys, you do like exclusive like your merch drops for the season too, right?
Yes.
And then new merch will come out the next season, maybe a different style, something like that. Is that how
you do it? Yes. And then I'm trying to get some signature tees, as I call them, where certain t-shirts define a certain character. I mean, a certain person on the show. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, if people ever pay attention to the show, E-Deuce, if he does not like the match and he's pissed off about it, he will say 2 shits in the toilet seat flush. So my idea for that was to have 2 emoji, crap emojis, right? And have a toilet seat flush swirl in the middle. Or something like that of that nature. But the way that I had it in my head and designed it, it would look 2 shits and toilet seat flush and something like that. So that'd be just one prime example. But other people have different styles, and it'll bring a different personality of the shirt out of the new merch. So I'm trying to be creative, use my art skills to the test, and see if I can create a shirt from design and t-shirt from scratch, and see how that goes.
No, I'm gonna let people in on a secret about Off the Top Rope. So you guys, it's for the majority of it, it's 3 black men, and there's a white girl who does it sometimes too, right?
Actually, the white girl is the first lady of the podcast. So give a special shout out to Charlene, Char C, as we call her. So she's the first lady. She's on majority of all the current episodes because she is a vivid wrestling fan at heart, and she's very one into her sports. So she knows her shit. So I gotta give her a credit for that.
Very good.
Everybody can listen to it.
No, but we have more people just right now behind the scenes, as I dub it. They have personal situations going on, so I'm giving them whatever time that they need. Just whenever that you are ready, let me know, and let's get you back in here. Let's get you back in the full swing. So,
Joe, he sounds more patient than
me. So trying to create like a decent lineup, but worst come to worst, I'll just do it by myself.
JP has to do it by himself a lot because I'm in the hospital.
That I just said what I said to Joe was, you sound a lot more patient than me. Joe will text me on a Thursday and be like, dude, I'm on my way to the hospital. And I'll be like, what the fuck, dude?
Wow.
You better be dying.
Nah, I mean, don't do that, man. Like, God forbid on that, though. But
let me tell you something, guys. Like, podcast, we're just like HR employment. We don't discriminate by age, race, anything, religion, anything. Whatever you like. If you like pro wrestling, you're gonna like these podcasts. So give them a listen. Whatever you got time for.
Not just us, not just them, whoever. Just type in Google wrestling podcast, and they'll all pop up.
Now, how do you? Am I saying Black Hat right? Because I'm looking at how you spell it.
Yes,
I'm like,
you are.
I can't do that.
No, yes, you are. No,
the old English way.
I just instead of me using A's, I just use a B. That's just it. It's no big deal. That's just a secret.
Is there a symbolism behind that, or?
Okay. So within the confines of the show, I guess at first, everyone played catered being baby faces. I guess so. We try to go along with the wrestling world terminology and stuff like that. So at first, I was a baby face when I started the show. When I started the whole podcast, I was a baby face. So I was just encouraging other shows that, okay, maybe this happened because of this reason. Let's give it more time, stuff like that. Always give it benefit of the doubt. But then I had something happen, like some show that I was watching. I think it had to be WWE related because obviously we already know what the hell's going on with them. Something involving someone had ticked me off, and I was like, "No, fuck that! I need to let out some fucking restrictions. This is bullshit." And I let loose, and I was just like, "This is a heel turn." We just dubbed it a heel turn, so I just like, you know what, fuck it, I'm a heel now. Now I'm just going to talk down on the company any way that I can and pick out the best thing that I'm able. The rest of it was trash, and that's pretty much has been it. I haven't turned back to a babyface yet. So other people within the group are either baby faces or heels. So right now, Deuce is a heel, Cyber Yeti is a heel. Big Mike would have to be a baby face right now. Uncle Fats would have to be a baby face. Sean's definitely a baby face. Mav is definitely a babyface too. Who else am I missing?
You guys got a whole set.
I'm too old to be considered babyface.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap going on with them. With their, I call my commission table. I'm just sitting there. I'm just like,
me and Joe might be OGs from Southie, but man, you guys got a set. I ain't messing with y'all.
Oh man,
you got it going on.
Listen, I mean, I handpicked everybody. So obviously, I knew they all bring something to the table, and that's something that I need. I want my content to be different from other people's, and that's the only way that you have people noticing you, because you have something different that anyone else does not have or offer. And I try to fulfill that in our own right, but being in a creative way. So shout out to everyone in the goddamn group, because I handpicked all of them.
That's okay. And that's pretty much so. The way we started was back in like, gonna date ourselves here. Back in like 04, 05, Joe called me up because me and Joe grew up together and then separated, and then through a mutual friend, we sort of got back together because of wrestling, going to wrestling shows and going to WWF shows and stuff. And Joe called me up one day in 04 and said, "Hey, there's this guy having a contest for an internet radio show. Let's audition." And it was all a scam. The guy just wanted to get $50 a week from a bunch of people, and we paid it. And we did that for a while, and then we left him and we went somewhere else that wasn't scamming us. Thank you, Chris Cash, for the start, though. Yeah, much love. It would be funny because every time we got a guest, and back then, like, TNA was a big thing, and TNA people were very attainable, like Bubba, Devon, all of them. And the second we would get someone on, because he was our producer, and back then what he would do is he would have to call them. So we would have to give them these people's phone numbers, and then the next month they'd be on his show.
Wow.
Because now he had their phone number, so he could call them up and say, "Hey, do you want to come and do my show too?" And then he tried to say a word to New Jack that we don't say. And New Jack threatened to kill him. New Jack literally threatened to. I think the exact words were, after New Jack gave this guy's address on another podcast, said, "I'm going to hunt you down and kill you, and this is where you live."
Oh, shit.
Said it right out loud.
He asked, what he did was he asked, he thought it'd be a good idea to get drunk on the show with New Jack, which I'll drink on the show here and there, whatever. And then they took a commercial break, and he thought it would be a good idea to ask New Jack if he could say the N-word. New Jack probably said sure during the break, and then came back and berated him and hung up.
Was he under something? Was he under some substance, or was he sober?
Beforehand, he was going to do this.
Okay.
Because he thought it would be funny. And the problem was, back then, every podcast out there tried to be Howard Stern.
Yeah.
So they all tried to be super edgy, and they weren't. And when you try to be super edgy, it comes out like shit. You know what I mean?
That's what set us aside, though, from the beginning. We weren't that.
Right. We were nice. We came out, we talked. We have conversations.
Yeah. It's a conversation. What's going on? Tell me a day in your life as whoever you are.
Right.
You get something to promote it. You get something you don't want to talk about, we won't say a word.
Right, exactly. And that's exactly what I do for After Dark. It's just another segment that we have on the podcast where we bring on special guests to come on, and then we'll just have saying like, just chop it up. I'm like, yo, I don't give a shit what the fuck you want to talk about. Don't talk about this. Let me know. Tell me your comfortability, because I won't go there, or I want to ask a certain question or something like that. But within the confines, as long as you feel comfortable here, that you want to come back again and be like, yo, I got some shit I got to go with my chest. I don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? So I follow the confines too. I'm like, yo, just let me know. Just, you know what I'm saying? Or let me know in advance if this, that, and third, but whatever. Then I'll just coordinate with everything. I don't care. You know what I mean?
I think, Joe, we do have to touch on Chris Kanyon.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So the dark side of the ring. So here's the thing. Chris Kanyon, like, we had Joe at one point in his life. Can I expose this?
Sure.
Can I explain what happened?
Yep.
Joe's a retired Boston cop. There was a point back in 06 or so, 07 maybe, where Chris got arrested. He hit a guy that had hit a woman. He was basically getting the guy off a girl, and Chris hit him, and Chris got arrested for it. And Joe called down to Florida where it was happening because Joe was active at the time. And
I just asked, can you tell me what's going on?
Yeah. And they wound up doing like a little professional courtesy and saying, all right, we're not going to go to court on this guy. So basically, when Chris goes to court, there's going to be no cop there to testify. You know what I mean?
They wanted to throw it out.
So as a result, he came on the show a couple of times. He actually came out of the closet the day before he came out on Howard Stern on the Irish Whip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening to Howard Stern the next day, and Chris is like, so yeah, I got beat up by Vince McMahon because I was gay. I got beat up by the Undertaker by the order of Vince McMahon because I'm gay. And he had told the same story the night before on our show. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I mean, he had been out to the wrestlers for a long time, but not to the public.
Yeah. I'm surprised that didn't leak out either.
He knew what he was doing, you know what I mean, for us. So I'll never forget that in Chris. So when but it's Dark Side of the Ring's job to sort of post and promote the negativity of it because that creates the drama that they need for the show.
But also, I just think it's like it's filling some of the myths that we all been thinking about for as long as we were wrestling fans about so many other stuff. Like what had happened, and now we're getting finally some modern day answers. And after, like, you know, whatever research that they do, I mean, I can't question the research part, like how much percentage that they put into it. But, you know, at least certain stories have actually been accurate. Right. Others have been kind of like, okay, well, yeah, but still.
Yeah,
still
got me really went to jail for bank robbery.
Yeah, and with that, you still don't know the whole story. You have just another side, you know. We got stories from the horse's mouth. He told us off the air because we talked to him quite a bit. I'm not going to say we became close with him, but we became.
But you guys been
we became a weekly text or a weekly call or a weekly email. Yeah, that's how we got with them.
It's funny because this was sort of before texting was really a thing, and he's talking about being gay on the show, and we know he's coming out. We had a little chat room going, and I'm private messaging Joe. They were like, holy shit, what do we do with this? This is like a fucking moment right here.
Right.
Yeah,
you know, huge. And back then, things weren't viral back then.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have wanted to really I don't know. I mean, obviously, I would have wanted to capitalize on it, but I wouldn't have wanted to, like, capitalize on it for any reason other than to help Chris at the same point. You know what I mean?
Let me say it like this, JP and Blackheart. Say what you want about Chris Kanyon, whether it's a yay or a nay. Chris Kluseritz, was an amazing person. He was a hell of a guy, and he would be right behind you anytime you needed him.
Because I know you do that Dark Side. You've done a couple post Dark Side of the Ring shows.
Yes.
And I was trying to pay attention to the Chris Kanyon
I gave my reaction. I gave my feelings to what I watched. So what you're about to ask me, I mean, I said, number one, he had an ecosystem going on. Number one, he was Catholic. So we all know how the Catholic religion is, especially if you are really into the religion, then you know what you're going to be in for. Then coming to find out that he knew that he was gay when he was a teen. So that's already messing with your body, your mind, because you're still coming of age, and that says a lot. And it's like, oh shit, now I can really fucking imagine. But then getting in the ring, wrestling, and, you know what I'm saying? But I did not know that he was trained by the Fabulous Moolah. So I was like, whoa, okay, that's a first. I never knew about that. You know what I mean? But then as you go along his journey, I did not know that he was even Morbius. And I was always playing that guy when he came to WCW and then Revenge. So yes, I was one with that game. So he was the guy that I used to play with. I'm like, wow, who would have thought? And now all these memories start kicking back in my head. Then I started recognizing his face, and I'm like, oh shit, the Invasion angle? Yeah, but I never remember your ass now. But as it goes on, then you see the stuff that he's trying to hold his, you know, cause his sexuality and not, you know what I'm saying, expose himself, because of course in the 80s and 90s, you know what I'm saying, like definitely if you're gay, then you're being outed. Like there's no turning the fuck back from it. And he knows that. So that's another weight on his chest that he has to carry. That only one person that he trusts in the whole world, and he nearly killed this guy, his manager.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, I think James. I don't know. I'm sure Chris was in dark spots at points in his life.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching the James Mitchell stuff and saying, I just don't see that. But I mean, I didn't. Obviously, I knew a little piece of it. You know what I mean? So, who knows?
Right.
And thankfully he didn't kill him.
But then also with him being diagnosed with bipolar disorder had made it more significant to why the behavior in the first place. So now it's like, okay, now we understand because this is going on with you and this you need help right now. But then he, I did not know that he was gay. Like I said, you know what I'm saying? So I was 14, 15 years old when he came out. So I didn't understand about the whole, LGBTQ community, that back then, you know what I'm saying? And I was in high school, so, it was a different environment. So
there wasn't a whole lot of a community back then because it was still, I don't want to say it was frowned upon because that's the wrong word, but
it was new.
There wasn't the pride behind it that there is now, and I think pride is probably the right word, the exactly right word to use there.
But you got to look at it too from his point of view. He can come out and then he'll have his side of the story, but then you're gonna have a side of the story from everybody in the locker room,
right?
Because someone's gonna be like, "Oh wow, I didn't know that," but that one time he bumped into me. Oh, what was that? And they're gonna come out with these elaborate bullshit stories that are far-fetched.
Right, and they're gonna take something so small and blow it out of context so much to make something out of it, which is not necessary.
Absolutely.
But they didn't have
it could have just been something it could have just been nothing.
Yep.
You didn't see the guys who loved Chris, the Shane Helmses and those guys that were like tight with Chris that whole time.
Yeah.
So just for what he was just going through, man, it was sad, but I mean, I'm not gonna bash any gay people because I have gay friends too. So you know what I'm saying. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna bash that. You know what I'm saying.
No.
So, just him going through all that in his life, you know what I'm saying, and it really adds up, especially when you have nothing left to go for.
Yeah.
It's just sad though. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to dig in too deep into it because the way that how I watched it and the way that how I felt, I'm like, damn, bro, I'm surprised certain people I know are still the fuck alive, and they came out the closet so long back, and they still here. And God forbid, back then, in certain circumstances, what happened to them, that could have been them or some other shit.
Yeah, you don't know. You never know what's going on in someone else's head. And like me and Joe have always been big proponents of like mental health, and
I have issues myself.
Taking care of yourself. Now, here's one.
Self-care is most important.
Bobby D, who was at Pat's show, he was the white-haired gentleman with the Hulk Hogan mustache at Pat's show.
Yeah.
He wants to know who was your crush in WWF or WWE.
Who was my crush?
Yeah. He said WWF and
okay.
When WWF was wrestling, so I guess old school, like when you were growing up, who was your crush?
Sunny, Sable, Trish, and Lita. Those four.
Oh my God. Lita was so underrated.
And one wild card, Terry Runnels. And still to this very day, she still looks fine as fuck. So
that's what happens when you pay for it.
Still, man, just be my sugar mama, man. Just pay me just come chill with you. I don't care.
Now, what about now? What about today?
What about today?
From those, I would say Alexa Bliss.
Damn. And you talk about WWE, like nowhere else either? Like just WWE? Okay, fine.
No, any wrestling. Any wrestling.
Oh, okay. Well, then you just opened up my whole damn door. Jordan Grace, Layla Gray. Who's the other one? Jay Cargill is another one.
Oh my God. I'm really just starting to appreciate how she looks.
Oh my God.
Her abs on AEW.
Lady Frost is another one. Who's another one? Someone that's in
He's looking for Luscious Latasha.
No,
That's what
see,
Bobby D's looking for
no,
you to say.
I'm trying to remember two other faces. I'm like, wait, which promotion that they from? Well, that's all. That's all I got for right now. But there's a couple more. I just can't remember them all. So that's why I was like, WWE. Oh, okay. Of course, Sasha Banks. Of course, yes. I cannot forget her. Oh, and then we are going into WWE then. Aaliyah, that's another one that I have my eye out for. A mean grip. Elektra Lopez, who's now part of the Legado de Fantasma. Yes,
we can make it easier, and you can just say all of them.
I can't. No. Can't say all of them. Can't say all of them. You gotta be. No, I'm picky. I'm picky as fuck with my women, man. Oh, and Mandy Rose too.
One of mine from back in the day. No Mickey James is unconventional.
Mickey James is Mickey James is definitely in there. I forgot about her too. But there's so many other women that's out there. That I'm like, yo, there's a resurgence out there in the world of professional wrestling when it comes to these women. I'm like, oh, it's hard to pick. It's like
go back your flavor, I guess. What do you think about Luna? That was me. I'm sorry. I'm unconventional. I like Luna.
Really?
I know.
Yeah.
That does not surprise me.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that I'm calling his bluff right now, but Son's telling me that I might want to believe him on this.
Yeah. I like it. Well, and it's like right now, I'm unconventional.
Just to come out.
Joe Salento painted. Joe Salento wants to know.
What was that, JB?
Joe Salenta's asking, who inspired you to get into podcasting?
We did.
I know you said it was the match, but was there anyone like
Chris Jericho, Jim Cornette, and Bruce Pritchard?
Okay.
Those three. Because some of the wrestling was what I kind of started off, huh?
Was it their mic ability? The way to speak on the mic, or was it just them in general?
Well, no, I think I think it was just the way that the show is run, and the fact that the topics that they pick, and then they go by like a timeline. So I'm like, if I'm alive from 1990 to now, I'm 31. So if I can remember this, I'm like, okay, maybe I can fill in some of the blanks of why this thing happened. Boom, 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 and you get an insight from an inside person, a lifer, nonetheless. Right. Yeah. From this person, Jim Cornette is just this dude. Oh man, there's some points it can make you laugh. He can make you hate him, and he just knows how to play into it. But
yeah,
he's just one of those people that as much as you hate him, you gotta love him, man. Without him, certain aspects of professional wrestling wouldn't be the way that it is. And then Chris Jericho, because the modern wrestler that's coming on his show right now, and certain topics that he talking about too. So. Those are the 3 reasons. So those are the reasons why. Right there.
Today's episode is brought to you by DB. DB is a Scandinavian brand that makes backpacks and bags to help people on the move stay ready for anything. From streets to the peaks, DB's gear is travel tested by some of the world's best athletes, adventurers, and creators. Over the past decade, DB has designed and developed, released and refined the best bags in the market. With DB's patented hookup system, you're able to attach smaller products to your backpack, roller, or tote. Guys, you know damn well when you're traveling and you don't have enough pockets, there's not enough room in your bag, you still got something, just clip it on, and you're good to go, whether it's going through the TSA checkpoint, going from the car to the hotel room, or you're backpacking through the Elks. We are teaming up with DB to exclusively offer our listeners 10% off your next purchase by using the code POD10 or go into the link in our show notes. DB, it's time to move on. Time to get going.
Now, we do a thing every week. We give away an action figure. This week here, it's actually an Alexa Bliss action figure. I got to spin a wheel real quick. And when I say real quick, it takes me a second to bring it up.
Okay.
There we go. Make sure I'm sharing the right thing. We got a good amount of names. Guys, to get on this, this is an Alexa Bliss Elite. To get on the board, to get on the wheel here that you see spinning around, all you got to do is retweet our pinned tweet about the giveaway every week. Once you retweet that, your name gets on the board. I'm just shuffling the names up a little bit to make it fair. Go ahead and hit. I also got to take the time. 48:58. And Joe, who do we got?
Please be me again.
Ooh.
Well, we've had a guy that won twice in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Ben Bosmith. I told him if he wins again, he'll get the choice of either the figure or one of our T-shirts.
Ooh.
BXPRJ, another one. Jay from the Puerto Rican Jay from the Bronx. He's won once or twice before, and he's on the wheel every week. So thank you, Jay. Just send us a message with remind me of your address, and we'll get that figure out to you.
Right out.
Again, the Alexa Bliss Elite. So I don't know what next week's figure will be. I know James Allen was here earlier, and I told him I was going to try to do a Rikishi this week because he had Rikishi on his show Saturday, but I just couldn't find one.
Yeah.
I know there's some out there, but they're all old and super expensive, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Now, do you collect action figures? I know you said you're sort of into like the nerd culture, and that's a big part of it, I think.
Collecting? No, I don't think so. I'm more like a tech geek, I think, of anything else.
Okay.
As of right now, like, modern kind of technology, stuff like that. I try to be one with, software, hardware, and, say different models of computers and shit like that. So, whatever.
Now, you said the Mass College of Art. Are you an artist?
Yes.
What style art do you do?
I like to do, like, as I said, like realistic paintings and stuff like that based on, reality. Retro art, self-portraits, landscapes. I definitely love acrylics. I'm definitely like 100% like an acrylic painter, but of course I love the gouache paints and the watercolors. The hardest ones to ever paint with is oils. Oil paints is definitely a bitch to fucking do. Unless you know what you're doing, how much later it's gonna be, you gotta plan it out right. Otherwise, it's gonna be a problem. So,
you gotta paint JP in like another sexy portrait.
Yeah, I can't draw. I couldn't draw a straight line if you.
I can't even write my name straight.
So, no, but the Mass College of Art, like, you have to have some skill.
Yes,
that's that's not a it's not who you go to if you're if you're not good at your trade.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. There's Jay right there. Jay, just send me that message and I'll get that out to you. Thank you. I appreciate you, man. I know you're there every week.
Yeah, so. You're back about that.
And you can't mess with the Puerto Ricans from the Bronx. You know that.
Unless you're another Puerto Rican from the Bronx.
Yeah, we play. We might play too much sometimes, but we play. Now, did you watch the pay-per-view? We only got a few more minutes left. I did.
Did I watch the pay-per-view?
Yes.
Yes. If you're thinking what I'm thinking, that Extreme Rules pay-per-view was trash.
I didn't watch it, but from what I heard, there was no Extreme Rules except for the main event.
And what you heard is actually correct.
They're doing to that what they did to Survivor Series. When I was growing up and Survivor Series first started, Survivor Series was like 5 or 6 5-on-5 matches. And now you might get 2 5-on-5 matches.
Yeah, men's and women's.
And there might have been you might have had a world title or a tag title match on there. But other than that, it was all 5-mans, 5-on-5.
Survivor Series matches, yep.
Gone are the days of Tommy Dreamer bringing a wheelbarrow full of weapons down to the ring.
Speaking of Dreamer, October 30th, I'll plug Caleb too. After Pat Dillon's show in South Boston, Caleb is running New England All-Star Wrestling in Rockland. So I'll be running right from Southie to Rockland. And I think he's still got Tommy Dreamer on that show. I know he's got Teddy Goods with 2 mystery partners versus the unit, which is JT Dunn. The OG, Trigger the OG. Otherwise used to be known as Triplicious, one of the best and most underrated in the area. And Danny Miles. So that alone will be a good match. I don't know who Teddy's bringing with them. And I hope I didn't spill the beans on Dreamer for Caleb, but whatever. That'll come out soon anyway.
Oopsie.
Yeah, that's what you get for telling the kid. That's what you get for telling the kid with the microphone who's on the show.
Well, and again, it's not the first time we've done shit like that either.
No. Blackout, where can people find you? Can you give us all your social medias and the Off the Top Rope social medias?
Okay. Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, Off the Top Rope Podcast. Just, it's not too hard to find us. You can find the podcast, of course, the video version of it on YouTube. Hit that like, share, subscribe button. Thank you. And let's get them as we go on the journey. Thank you very much for all the things that they ever done for us. Anyway, Anchor, Google Podcast, Breaker Podcast, Radio Public Podcast, Spotify, Audio, Podbean, and sometimes we will go live on Spotify Green Room as well, once in a while. So we'll be on it too.
We haven't done the live on Spotify yet. That's
it's interesting. It's interesting to say the least.
Yeah,
this is our first week with Twitter. Periscope, for some reason, Periscope thought the Irish Whip was 14 years old, so they wouldn't let us do one.
Well,
now that they've done away with Periscope and Twitter,
these smart Irish people.
Well, the show's 15 years old now?
Yeah, I think that's what it had. I think we put in the age that the show was created, and it went by that, but it wouldn't let me change it either. But now that we can go live on Twitter, now that they got rid of that and it's just Twitter, we're able to do it. So
there we go.
I don't know if we had
I think so.
Been sort of, the beauty of the internet is we can be everywhere all the time, and that's what we try to do. There's Tommy Flynn. Tommy, what's going on, buddy? You're here. We're just about wrapping up, man. But what's going on, Tommy Flynn? Tommy Flynn, thoughts and prayers to you, too, and your friend. I know you said you had a friend going through some stuff, so, you guys always support us, and we'll always support you guys right back. We hope everybody is doing better than Joe.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm here, right?
Yes, you are.
All right. Next time I'm going to bring my laptop. I'll do it from the hospital bed.
You did offer to, I think it was last week or the week before. I'll give you that.
Yeah, but then I realized
you'll be there.
But then I realized I forgot my teeth, so I couldn't do it.
Yes, that's
told you I was old.
That's why people doubt I'm from Southie. These shits are all real.
Oh shit!
He now calls it the Irish Whip because he can't talk with his teeth.
Irish Whip.
Oh shit!
It's more of a bro.
That one threw me off. I'm like, what the fuck I see? Jay, man.
Oh, yeah.
Blackheart, thank you for coming on. I know, so this is for people who don't know. Me and Blackheart have been going back and forth for a couple of days on when we're going to try to do each other's podcast. And then I was like, you know what? Shit, we don't have anyone tonight. What are you doing?
I was doing it after I came home from work. And I was like, screw it, man. I'm going to screw it. I'll make room. When I came home from work, I was like, let's do this. Like, I was going to go on your joint in a minute anyway. So I was like, God.
Tommy Flynn just posted, "Oh, my brother, testify."
Good one, Tommy. Good one.
Thank you.
That was great. Now, thank you, Blackheart, for coming on. Joe, thank you for showing up.
Thank you for inviting me, Joe. Get better, Jay.
Oh yeah.
Definitely, like I said, whatever. Actually, no, I'm also asking you to these guys right now. When we try to make this happen, man, before we got the next minute and a half left. We try to make this happen.
I'm down.
As long as I know in advance, I can make a Saturday night work anytime.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
I just have to not drink as much that day. That's all.
The hottest part for me is staying up late.
Because if you do, oh man, just for you two to sit there and watch us how we do it, I'm gonna be scared as shit because I'm like, yeah, they're gonna sit there, they're gonna watch how we work, and God knows what's gonna think in their heads when they be like, what the fuck are they doing? But this is tight. So, if you want to, man, I'll definitely put you in for. Actually, oh man, no, I might not be on this Saturday, but what about the next week Saturday?
Like the
next
11th?
Saturday should work. Yeah, that should be fine.
I mean, the 9th.
This Saturday would have been tough for me too. I know I'm down.
Yeah, because I was gonna say I'm going on a date on Saturday though, so I know I'm not gonna be on this taping. That's why I left the duties, left the cyber. I left them in charge for that episode's taping and stuff like that. So I'm not gonna be on it. So that's why I said the next week.
Saturday the 9th is hit or miss for me. I'm going on vacation tomorrow. I don't know when I'll be back.
You don't know when you'll be back?
Well, no, we're coming back on the 9th, but I don't know if we're gonna be early or late. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, I'll be back. I just heard get yelled at from the other room. Well, I'll be back Saturday.
But so Black Eye, yeah, we'll do that. The 9th works for me. If that works for you, we'll that's perfect. And guys, check out Off the Top Rope, man. These guys are on. They have a great podcast.
Oh man, listen, I have the championship belt right now that I could put on the TV real quick, but I lost my championship to Cyber Yeti at the last pay-per-views prediction show. So technically, I'm not the champion anymore. So I'm not going to display the belt today. When I win it back, if you guys stay tuned, if I win it back, you'll see me having my belt on. But I'm not going to wear it today. I have respect for Cyber Yeti.
You know what's funny is we have another guy who's helped out on the show, and he's a part of the family. He really is. Like the show wouldn't have come back without him. We always called him Yeti.
But he's from Montana, so
yeah, he's from Montana, so he might really be a Yeti.
Yeah, he's hairy.
Oh damn! But I'm gonna say my Cyber Yeti. He's a Mexican that's Jewish. That's not what I'm fucking with you. That one.
Thank you. This has been a fun show, man.
Yeah, this is a good one.
Oh man, thank you, man, for having me, man. And like I said, Joe, I just gotta say, just be braced up for what I guess you're about to walk into on Saturday. Next Saturday. Excuse me, when I'm actually back on. So yeah,
make it work one way or another.
Definitely, gentlemen, and then please, if you can, it will not be fun without you there either. So I would really want you there. If
we'll get there,
you're gonna be there, I feel like you gotta be there too.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm telling you now.
Otherwise, today's episode could be just many. You know what I'm saying? It could be just me and Jay, and then I wasn't able to meet Joe today. You know what I mean?
Let's put it in ink. I'm there.
Say no more.
That's it.
I'm there.
Say no more. Yep. So all right. So next Saturday, next Saturday, you in. We got you.
All right.
Joe.
That's a wrap for the Irish Whip. See you next Thursday.